Welcome back. You're with the playlist. Next up, part 2 of our look at the Middle Eastern metal scene, the hardcore soundtrack of Muslim youth. We're taking you to Dubai, host of the region's only metal festival, one of the few places where metalheads can meet and make their music in public. Censorship drives against metal in places like Jordan, Lebanon, and Egypt have forced local bands underground with no outlet for their sound. And with metal, turning the volume down is not a viable option. But in spite of the strict controls and some interesting interpretations of the Quran that have been used against the music, bands like Iran's TRANSGRESSION have found followings across the Middle East, even beyond. Next up on the playlist, freedom of expression versus conservative forces and the challenge of making metal in today's Middle East.
Please scream for Nervecell!
It's really difficult to make metal music in the Middle East because it's a universally known fact that people are afraid of what they don't understand.
For the past 2-3 years, nothing. You cannot do anything. You cannot jam. You cannot play live. We got like 2-3 concerts cancelled because of Bilocate in the band list.
It was never going to be easy making heavy metal in a region that is so religious. And the stereotypes that metal carries with it, like satanic worship and drug use, makes it even harder. Metal musicians in the Middle East face hostility from many angles: religious forces, governments, and relatively conservative societies.
I'm sure that for some Muslim countries, the authorities sees metal as a threat and as some kind of a revolutionary thing because of the way we dress. But at the end of the day, this is just an artistical way of expression.
The catharsis that intense religious experience gives and intense musical experience gives is very much the same thing. And so that's why they go together, but that's also why music is such a threat to certain religious forces, because as many artists have said to me, we're their competitors, especially for young kids.
There are millions of metalheads all over the world, and I never heard of any revolution happened in any country because of metal.
In the late 90s, at the urging of religious leaders, several countries sought to ban metal altogether. There was a series of government crackdowns known as Satanic Metal drives.
It begins in Egypt in '97, where over 100 kids were arrested, and one of the senior religious leaders said they should be executed for apostasy if they don't repent. Really serious stuff. And this starts spreading: Lebanon, Iran.
The Lebanese band Oath to Vanquish has plenty of stories about their clashes with the authorities.
We used to be arrested for having long hair, for walking differently, for wearing black, for example, for listening to music in our CDs. Army checkpoints and police checkpoints would probe us in the car for having CDs of certain bands in the car and would question us and arrest us on the grounds of listening to a list of names that was formed completely ad hoc.
Hi! Hi! Come on! Hi!
In contrast to more conservative states, Dubai has emerged as a refuge for musicians in the Middle East. the Emirate has opened its doors and concert venues to allow metal in. Bilocate and Nervecell are now based there, where they can play their music in public.
Everything here is easy, everything. You can find studios to record in, you can find sound engineers to help you, you can find instruments. All the major brands in the world, they have distributors here.
6, 7 years ago, I would never think a metal band would be on the front cover of a local newspaper. And today we're looking at that almost every odd month.
Dubai is more of an open market. It's difficult for bands in the rest of the region in the Middle East to be heard. All the record labels in the Middle East are basically targeting Arabic music and pop music. This sort of genre of music is seen as underground genres.
It's impressive, given the subject matter of a lot of the bands that are playing, lyrically, politically, and so on. If they're able to take the stage down there and express themselves in a free way, then I think that really calls for some kind of reassessment on the part of the West in terms of just how progressively people are thinking down there.
Metalheads have it really rough in Iran, where censorship can be strict and bands and their fans have been forced underground.
So if there's one band in this festival that deserves to be here tonight, it's TARANTIST.
Iranian metalers TRANSGRESSION fled to the US so they could play their music their way.
We left our everything. We left our country, we left our parents, we left our friends, we left the boys and girls, even the streets and everything for just music. So it may be something important in our life.
Kill your brothers, 'cause you can destroy their homes. The more you wish, live them, I shall die.
But they're playing people's basements, people's pools, people's back gardens, and so on, because death metal is a very underground kind of music and very DIY, and it lends itself towards those underground sorts of shows.
Despite all of the obstacles, the struggles with the authorities in the Middle East, metal bands are connecting with fans and each other, forging communities and arguing through loud voices and power chords that resistance is futile. For now, heavy metal music and Islam remain uneasy companions in a region where religion can be the rule and music can offer a release.
Heavy metal and Islam. That item's up on our website as well. Coming up next week on the playlist, and for the rest of this series, more diverse and dynamic fusion music. Our crews are out there recording music right now, talking to the people behind it. Here's a sneak preview of what we've got coming your way. The music of Mexico meets American indie rock in the sounds of 60 Tigres, or 60 Tigers. They hail from the border town of Monterrey and have issues with American immigration policy. Plus, beats from Bogota. We'll be looking at bands like Monoretta and the diverse sounds coming out of Colombia. A festival of fusion from Latin America ahead on the playlist. That's just some of what's still to come on this series, but as always, the playlist would like to hear from you. Let us know which musical fusions you think we should know about. Email us at playlist@aljazeera.net. That's how you can get with the program. We're leaving you this week with more Jordanian metal from Bilocate. And we'll see you next time on the playlist on Al Jazeera.